Hello! No delays, coming right up.
Yeah, there's not a lot of solder. Oh my word, look at that.
Oh, there's a bridge on the trace there. Oh, crusty but straight.
Kind of suspected this.
That's broken. I should have poked it. You poked the barely. On, off, on, off. Oh, on, 7, 8.
Hopefully there were some nice teasers for you there.
Right, so we have a lovely bread bin to have a look at. And a slightly different revision board to the other ones. A 250425. Date code. Ignore the date code on the PLA because I have replaced that already. It didn't have a SID or a PLA in it. 2583, 84, 84, 84, 92. What? 2592. Really? That's 2592. Is that right? 2584. I'm intrigued by that. 84. I think that's an 83. 84, 84, 80. Yeah. Oh, it's got some. That one's MT. 1 MT RAM. And that looks like it's been changed. It's sitting slightly up proud of the board. I will take a photograph. Yeah, one end, and it doesn't look very well soldered. Interesting. There's some scuffs to the solder mask as well. I will show you. Yeah, there's not a lot of solder down the sides of that chip. So that one's definitely been changed. Someone's come in here and put, oh my word, look at that. I reckon they've cut that leg and resoldered it. I hate that.
Cutting pins to isolate chips is one of the old school repair practices I personally don't much like. I'm sure there are legitimate reasons, and I'm sure I'll have these repeated to me in the comments, but my personal preference is to repair things in a less destructive manner. As it happens, I don't think this leg is cut. That solder is probably just a random splash. Later I'll find a few more blobs like this.
Okay, let's switch on. We've got dead test in. Actually, let's try it without dead test first. I want to show you what it looks like. So this is without dead test. We just get, oh, yeah, garbled screen. I looked that up and it said on the pictorial fault guide, and it said PLA, but I know this PLA is good. So let's try with dead test. One of the ones on the pictorial fault guide said it could possibly be CIA, and with that CIA being a very recent date, recent 92, it's just a little bit younger than my oldest son, it could be something to do with the CIAs. Okay, so still garbled screen with that in, so we don't need the ROMs or the CIAs. I'm going to just take the CIAs out first.
I'll take over the narration here, as you don't want to listen to Benchley eat. Trust me on this. Without that late CIA installed, we have 4 flashes on dead test.
Hello. Consistent 4 flashes. What happens when we take out this CIA? Actually, what happened? Oh no. Oh, I don't know. Still got the ROMs in, so it should. Oh, something weird.
You can see as I press on the chips, the pattern of the screen changes slightly. It's not very obvious at this point, as there are, right at this moment, 2 different things causing the display to look like this. Which is fun, right?
Quite like that. Let's take this one out. Crusty but straight. Oh, what's that?
That's one of those random blobs of solder I was talking about, although I can't imagine how it got under this chip.
Just in there. A little blob of solder just sitting on the circuit board. Right, so what do we get now without any CIAs in? That looks like it's running.
I think that makes sense. What we can see here moving on the screen probably means the CPU is running.
So I reckon CPU's okay, probably, or to a certain extent. Dead test. 2, 3, 4. 4 flashes is U23, which is this one. These are all oaky, apart from the one that's been replaced. Right, let's take it apart.
I'm a little disappointed with my next move. I'm yet to remove the ROM chips and rule those out, and instead go right for removing the RAM chip that Dead Test is telling me is faulty. Oh well, you live and learn.
Okay. The tail of the back side of the board. There's a little bit of solder flux on. Oh, there's a bridge on the trace there. Oh, so right here, bit of solder across those traces there. It doesn't look very clever around this area either. Something going on here. I'm going to have to give this a good inspection. There's another bit of a solder bridge there. Or is that the one? Yeah, that's a different one. Right, so I think the thing to do is to buzz these contacts out to see if it's actually bridged. So that'll be these two. Not actually bridged. It's just sitting on top of the solder mask. Although that, yeah, that is just sitting on top of the solder mask. Not ideal. Just little bits of solder splashes everywhere. Lovely. 4164s. Kind of suspected this. Yeah, it's not the RAM.
Sometimes Dead Test is misled by other failed chips on the board, usually the PLA.
Interesting. Let's put a socket in there and whip out the ROMs and swap the CPU. Nice long legs though. Right.
After sticking this chip back in the board, the next step should be to remove those ROM chips, something I should have done right at the start. There's no reason not to when they're just sitting there in sockets.
Crunch. This one's creaky.
And with those out,
No flashes yet. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
there are 5 flashes on Dead Test,
2, 3,
which
4,
at least points to
5.
an inconsistent fault. That's something, right? What's the next move then, Benchley?
I know the PLA is good, so I'm going to take the CPU out and swap that. Two, 3, 4, 1, 3. There's something weird going on here.
And with a different CPU, there are 3 flashes. Sorry about the lack of capture, I must have dozed off for a while here. Right, this PLA you insist is a known good one. Are you sure about that? Maybe give the socket a clean?
Doesn't feel like a very good PLA socket. This isn't the best PLA actually.
That's running. That's clearing as well. At least we're going to get a result. Oh, it wasn't recording. So that interference was actually a lot worse than that. It's clearing. Coloram's okay. Going to get to see the results. Nice to see that those bottom ones are clear. Come on. Okay, so things we need to eliminate. Let's put the ROMs back in.
Okay, but one at a time, right? Right?
Let's see if we get the same results. Huh. Should have done these one at a time.
Oh, really? Maybe you should also test them in a working machine, because it's definitely the ROMs.
Oh no, it's the PLA.
Oh, yeah, PLA. That's pretty much what I said.
Okay. Borrowed a PLA out of a machine that I fixed that was just the PLA. Didn't need any specific work done. Wasn't an episode, so this is a brand new one from Commodore Lad. Not going to help me if I can't see that part of the screen. I suppose we need to illuminate this one.
I don't think it's the VIC-2, but it's right there, and I should pop it out and eliminate it from the equation before I start poking this board with hot bits of metal. This VIC-2 is from my own personal bread bin, which is why it carries a heatsink.
It's not the VIC.
But at least you know. CIAs first. I'm fairly confident at least one of these doesn't work.
It's one CIA. Let's try the new one first. 92. Ha! That's broken. That's really, really broken.
This C64 seems to eat them.
This one looks alright.
And the other CIA looks to be working, at first glance anyway. I'll need to attach the test harness to know for sure, but at this stage I just want to know if this CIA is crashing the system.
I don't think I have any other boards with ROM sockets.
ROMs next. None of the boards I have to hand have all the ROMs in sockets. This one has the kernel ROM in a socket, so if it's not the kernel ROM, I'll need to find another way to test the basic and the character ROMs.
Interesting.
Aha! That was super lucky.
That looks a bit familiar. So that, as it is now, without the ROM, with dead test, that should work. That should actually give us a working machine. It's the same thing. Oh, I reckon these are banjaxed as well.
Okay, it's still not working.
Oh, I might have to take them out of my one. Yeah.
I took a deep breath about now and did the sensible thing and walked away. While I was away, I asked for advice from friends on Twitter. When I came back from my break, full of fresh new ideas from all the suggestions I've been given, I switched it on and it started working.
Right, I've just fired up dead test to start testing just before I start recording. I haven't done anything. I did scope around U14 U4 after advice on Twitter. Oh, here we go.
it's a bad connection somewhere. It'd be nice if it could get through a whole test. I shouldn't have poked it. You poked the barely. So all the memory is testing okay. That's good to know.
It's definitely affected by me touching it. Sometimes it's hard to tell which bit is causing a bad connection, but my money is on the PLA socket. Marco at Marco on Twitter suggested U14 would be a good suspect here. He wrote, I've also seen that before. It's either the CIA at U2 or 74LS258 at U14. It's the VA14 and VA15 lines which control what bank of RAM is seen by the VIC. Okay then, so what do we do first? Replace the PLA socket or the multiplexer at U14?
Best guess I've heard so far is U14. Look at that. That's definitely not that. It could be like capacitance, that where I'm touching it. Yeah, look at that. On, off, on, off. Oh, on.
Well, he seems to be having fun. I think he's trying to show us
on,
U14
off.
is the problem.
Should we take that out?
Sounds like a good idea to me.
My new friend on Twitter told me that U14 or the CIAs would be the problem here. And the CIAs obviously not being in the board is not going to be a problem. So I took U14 out, which is the only MOS logic chip in the board. I tested it in my TL866 and it tested fine. And then I took 74LS258 out of, or U14 out of this donor board and put it in here, and I'll show you what it does. Boom! It's good. Not doing anything weird. I wonder what it does actually if we put that MOS one back. Oh, that is really in there. Got very short legs on this one that I took out the donor board. What you gonna do? I bet it works. Nah! Doing the same thing. That's what you call an edge case. Right, shall we have a look on the scope?
I wonder if it will show anything interesting. It might be a useful learning experience. I still don't know enough about the magical workings of electronics to understand half of what I see on an oscilloscope, but comparing a good chip and a bad chip should at least show which bit is broken. What I'm going to do here is have both pieces of footage playing at the same time. The scope on the left is the bad chip, and on the right you can see the traces of the good chip.
Right, computer is on, and I'm going to scope all the lines from 1 to 16 on U14. Let's just connect it up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Cool.
And there we have it, just the one address line being held low. And if you look carefully, that signal goes out to VA15, which Marco specifically mentioned in his tweet. Nice one, Marco. Thank you for your excellent help.
Right, so now the next thing to do is to start putting chips back in, and I'm going to start with the CIAs. And I want to start with this one that I've marked bad here and see if that does anything. This is the socket it came out of as well. Yeah, that's a bad CIA. Okay, so we've got another 6526 here. Actually, let's try one at a time. That one's good. Well, good as far as I can tell. It's not killing the system good. Yep. So it's 25, 26, 27. 25 first. Don't ask me which ones are which. I don't know.
Well, I know. I've got Google right in front of me. 25 on the right is the character ROM. 26 on the left is the basic ROM. And the middle one, which on this board tested faulty, is the kernel ROM.
Let's put the 26 in next. I've got a bad ROM here. Is it kernel ROM, is it? I don't know. I'm guessing.
Good guess.
As long as it's not killing the system, that's fine. Let's try this one. It's tested bad on another machine. Yes. So that's not bad. Well, not so far. Cool. I think this might be a dead SID. Yep, dead SID.
Bugger. I hate that. But to be fair, this machine didn't come with a SID. I must have picked this dead one up from a previous repair.
Oh well. So it didn't have a SID in this one to start with. It didn't have a PLA, so I've had to put in a new PLA. That RAM chip was fine. That was a false alarm. The CIA was dead. The ROM chip was not dead, so I need to remove the X off of there. So we just need PLA, SID, CIA in this one. Everything else is great. Put that in here for now. Right, I've connected the diagnostic harness and everything is testing fine apart from sometimes the serial port, sometimes the user port, sometimes even the keyboard. And it depends on which of the, I've got another CIA chip here, which of the CIA chips I have in which socket, and it's misbehaving in strange ways. I've tried swapping them around, I've tried changing them for different chips, and I keep getting things like, as you can see on the diagnostic serial port, bad. But if I change these over, I'll get control port bad. It's random. I've cleaned the I've cleaned the edge connectors, I've cleaned the sockets, I've cleaned the legs of the pins, I've cleaned the serial port. So I asked Adam Commodore Lad his opinion, and he said, you know, after we'd gone through all the stuff that I've been through already, he said U8 here, this little, what is it, 7406, this little chip here. It has something to do with the way the CIAs talk to the different ports. Don't ask me. But I should put some pictures up on screen now of the legs of this. I didn't even look at this. They are really, really rusty. So that is a problem. I've got a nice shiny one on my donor board here. It's got nice long legs on it as well. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. So a 14-pin socket in there, and I'll put that in there, and I'm pretty sure that that's going to fix it. But I'm not going to show you desoldering that because it's boring. Okay, that was a pig to get out. So there's the chip. The legs were all over the place, bent and snaggled on the end. I've taken the other one, this one, out of this donor board. It was a bit easier, but there's one point on here. I'll show you this way around, which is down in this corner here. Let's come a bit closer. Something to point with. That point there, get you in the middle. That point there is on this big ground plane on the top, but on the other side it's on this big ground plane here. Now on this board, where it's just got silk screened, a solder masked copper ground plane, nothing on it, no solder on it, wasn't too bad. But on the original, let me grab the original. Oops. Here's the original. It's all right on this side, where there's just this copper ground plane. That's all right. But on the other side, over here, this ground plane has got a big thick layer of solder on it. That was a pig to get out and then to clear. Horrible job, but I got it out. Didn't damage anything, didn't damage the chips. Tested the chip in the TL866 and it fails. Tested the new one and it passed. So I need to clean the legs up on that and fit a socket. And hopefully that'll fix it. What's going on with this socket? Okay, right, so I've cleaned it up. Got my cat out of the tree. It's good. It's a good fit. Let's put all this back together. These keyboard connections are always bent. That's on. Video. Power. Start recording. Still works. Come on. Ah, what? Serial port bad, user port bad. Why? Well, that was definitely bad. Okay, I'd swapped this chip. Right, this was in there when it failed. I put this one back in. This is the one with... Oh no, that's 84. That's a different one. I wonder where the 92 one went. What have I put that in? Oh, the 92 one is bad. There's the bad one. So I honestly can't remember which one's these come out of now, so I'll have to review the footage to check the dates and everything. But 2584, 2583, yeah, this is probably out of another machine, and this might be out of another machine as well. Actually, I think it was these two that were in there. 2583, it's the right date, but it's testing fine now. Whee! Don't move, nobody breathe.
Well, there we go, another one is fixed. In the end, this was a super expensive repair, and I did put the question to its owner, Paul Universal Retroboss, if he wanted just to scrap it for parts. After all, it needed a PLA, a SID, 2 CIAs and a couple of logic chips, all of which add up to much more than you'd pay for a whole working C64. But Paul said go for it, which I think is great. A working machine at the end of a video is a much more satisfying outcome than a broken one. This isn't the machine, by the way. That one was sent back a while ago. I just thought it would be nice to hold one up. I could probably have held up a Spectrum for a laugh. I shouldn't do that though. People take the accuracy of these videos super seriously. This is the last C64 in that batch of repairs, and coming up soon will be the last of the Enduro Repair ZX Spectrum series, which is a monster of a repair. I've got a few other bits to record, and then I'll be on to the next batch of computers from Paul. There are a few Amigas to work on in that lot, as well as the usual C64s and Spectrums. You can get a sneak look at those on the second channel, where I take a quick initial look at each machine on the repair pile. Okay, that's all. You can go now.
Right, I've connected the diagnostic harness.
Ha! Left the cameras rolling. Idiot.
CIA isn't a C64. CIA. Oh, God, blur. Get this right. After all, it needed a CIA and a sir. He just wanted to scrap it. In the end, this was a no. After all, it needed a sir and a sir and a sir. Come on. Okay, that's all. You can go now.
Spiky gag. Who spotted Mark? Did anyone spot Mark?